Have you ever been sitting inside on a bright summer afternoon, doing absolutely nothing wrong, and yet feeling a quiet, nagging guilt in your chest? The sun is out. The sky is that impossible shade of blue. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a voice keeps whispering that you should be outside, that you should be doing something, that a day this beautiful is not meant to be wasted lying on the couch. So you rest, but you never quite land in it. You stay half alert, half apologetic, resting with one eye open, as if at any moment someone might walk in and ask why you are not making the most of it. And then winter comes. The light goes soft and gray, the days shrink. The world outside seems to slow down and dim, and strangely, instead of feeling worse, something in you loosens. You pull a blanket over your legs, you make a warm drink, you sit by the window and watch the pale light fade early, and for the first time in months, the guilt is gone. You are resting, and it finally feels allowed. There is no window to keep glancing at, no golden afternoon slipping through your fingers, no unspoken expectation pressing against your shoulders. Just the quiet and the permission to stay inside it. Most people who love winter think they love the cold, or the snow, or the cozy sweaters and the warm drinks. But if you look a little closer, that is not really it. What they are drawn to is not the temperature, it is the permission. Winter gives them something the bright months quietly took away, the right to slow down without owing anyone an explanation. If it were truly the cold they loved, they would feel it in the shiver, in the raw wind, in the ache of frozen fingers. But that is not where the comfort lives. The comfort lives in what is missing. The demand is gone. So here's the strange question underneath all of this. Why does a beautiful sunny day, the kind everyone says they long for, so often leave us feeling like we are behind on something? And why does a gray, quiet winter afternoon, which we are supposed to find gloomy, so often feel like relief? These two feelings seem backwards. We are told sunshine is happiness and gray skies are sadness. But your body keeps telling you a different story, and it is worth listening to what it actually knows. To understand this, you have to understand something about how your nervous system reads light. Sunlight is not just brightness to your body, it is information. For most of human history, long bright days meant it was time to move, to gather, to build, to be with other people, to make the most of the hours before the dark returned. Your system learned to treat light as a signal, not a gentle one, but an instruction. When the sun is high and the day is long, some old part of your brain reads it as, this is a working day, this is a doing day. Be active, be social, be useful. That signal was survival once. The bright season was the season of storing up, of preparing, of not letting a single warm hour go to waste, because the cold and the scarcity were always coming. The problem is that this signal does not turn off just because you decide to rest. You can lie down on a bright afternoon, but the light is still pouring through the window, still whispering the old instruction. So even as your body tries to relax, another part of you is quietly keeping score. Every hour you spend still on a day that feels made for motion gets added to an invisible tally, a small debt, a sense that you are falling behind on a day that expected more from you. Your muscles may be still, but something underneath them is not resting at all. It is watching. It is counting. Imagine a little counter running silently in the background of your mind. On a bright summer day, that counter never stops ticking. Every quiet hour, every unproductive moment, every time you say no to going out, it goes up by one. You are not consciously adding these numbers, but you feel their weight. That is the heaviness behind the summer guilt. You are not just resting. You are resting against a running total that keeps reminding you what the day thinks you should be doing instead. And the worst part is that the counter never seems to reach a number where you are allowed to stop. There is always more day, more light, more that you could have done. Think about how this shows up in ordinary moments. It is a Saturday in June, the weather is perfect, and you want nothing more than to stay inside and read. But you keep checking the window, feeling the day slip away, thinking you should really be out somewhere. Or you are on a long summer evening, the sun's still up at 9, and you feel this low pressure to make plans, to see people, to not let a good night go to waste. Or you take an afternoon nap and wake up not refreshed, but faintly ashamed as if you stole something from a day that was supposed to be lived fully. Or maybe you scroll through photos of everyone else at the beach, at the festival, at the barbecue, and the guilt sharpens into something that feels almost like proof. Proof that you are doing summer wrong. Notice that in every one of these, nothing has actually gone wrong. You are safe. You are fine. There is no real task you are neglecting. The pressure is not coming from your life. It is coming from the light and from the story your nervous system has attached to it. That brightness means obligation, and stillness during brightness means failure. No one handed you this rule. No one wrote it down. It simply arrived with the sun, the way it always has, and it treats your desire to rest as a kind of quiet betrayal of the day. And here is where summer turns from pleasant into overwhelming for so many people. It is not just the guilt of one quiet afternoon. It is the accumulation. The long days pile up. The expectation to be always on, always available, always saying yes to the barbecue and the trip and the gathering builds and builds. The heat, the noise, the endless daylight that refuses to let the day end. It all keeps the counter running long past the point where you have anything left to give. You are exhausted, but the light will not release you. It just keeps insisting there is more you should be doing. By the height of summer, you are not tired from doing too much. You are tired from being told, hour after bright hour, that you are never doing enough. So let me offer you a different way to look at this. What if the problem was never that you rest too much, or that you are lazy, or that you cannot enjoy the good weather the way you are supposed to? What if the real problem is simpler and stranger than that? That summer, for all its beauty, quietly forbids rest. It surrounds you with a signal that says, keep going, and then makes you feel guilty for wanting to stop. And winter does not take anything away from you. Winter just presses the cancel button on that debt. Think about what actually changes when the seasons turn. The light goes soft. The days end early. The world gives you fewer hours of that bright, demanding signal. And with the signal gone, the counter finally stops. The old instruction, be active, be social, be useful, goes quiet because there is no long, bright day telling you otherwise. For the first time in months, stillness is not being measured against anything. Rest stops registering as a loss. The gray sky is not gloom. It is the removal of pressure. It is permission, written across the whole world. The early dark does not steal your evening. It gives you back the right to end it. This is why so many people describe winter with words like cozy and safe and calm, even when the weather itself is harsh. It is not the weather they are responding to. It is the release. When the light stops demanding, they can finally exhale. The blanket, the warm drink, the early dark, the quiet, these are not just comforts. They are the physical shape of not owing anyone your energy for a while. They are what it looks like when the counter reads 0 and stays there. And if you are someone who has always felt a little guilty about loving winter, or about feeling low and unmotivated when the sun comes out, I want you to hear this clearly. It does not mean something is wrong with you. It does not mean you are broken or antisocial or that you fail at enjoying life. It means your nervous system is honest. It means you feel the weight of the summer signal more than most, and you feel the relief of its absence more deeply too. The guilt you carry in the bright months is not proof of a flaw. It is proof of how sensitive you are to the pressure that everyone else is quietly carrying and pretending not to notice. You are not the only one keeping score. You are just the one who feels the numbers. So what do you do with this? Not much, and that is the point. You do not need to fix your relationship with sunlight, or force yourself to love summer, or push through the guilt with more activity. The useful thing here is not an action. It is an understanding. When the bright months come and the counter starts ticking, you can recognize it for what it is, an old signal, not a true debt. You do not actually owe the day anything. The sun is not keeping score. That pressure you feel is a reflex, not a fact, and once you can name it, it loses some of its grip. The guilt does not vanish, but it stops disguising itself as the truth about who you are. And when winter finally comes and you feel that quiet loosening in your chest, you no longer have to be confused by it or ashamed of it. You can let yourself understand that what you are feeling is not laziness returning. It is permission arriving. The debt is being canceled. The world has gone soft enough to let you rest without apology. You can stop bracing against a demand that is no longer being made. Picture the whole thing one last time. All summer, a small figure sits under a hard, bright light, a counter climbing silently beside them, adding a point for every quiet hour, every moment they dared to stop. The weight of it presses down, and then the light changes. It goes gray and gentle and blue. The counter blinks and resets to 0, and the figure, sitting by the window with a warm cup in their hands, does something they have not been able to do in months. They breathe out, all the way out, because maybe the thing you have been longing for was never the cold, or the snow, or the dark. Maybe it was just this, a stretch of time where being still is not something you have to earn, where rest is not a debt you are repaying, where the light finally stops asking anything of you at all. And in that quiet, that gray, that early dark, you are allowed, at last, to simply be here, doing nothing, owing nothing, and feeling, for once, completely at peace with that.